everybody, and welcome in to the Josh Ennis Show. Glad you are with us tonight here on Twitch. And, of course, if you're listening any other time via the podcast, we're glad you're here, glad you're hanging out. Jilly is here. She's playing injured today because she hasn't felt well today. Somebody had too much claw on Saturday, I think. Is that fair to say?
I know damn well the claw makes you feel like death the next day.
But you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway because I really wanted the taste of it.
You did this to yourself,
and I just
ma'am.
feel like it just destroys me for the whole weekend.
I know. I mean, because even yesterday you seemed somewhat normal.
Yeah.
But today you woke up and you were so off because we had some beers last night watching that dreadful wrestling pay-per-view that you made me watch.
I couldn't even get drunk last night at all because I think I was still feeling the effects of the White Claw.
So,
all I had last night, I was like drinking to like get rid of a migraine. And
yes,
it didn't
you
work.
were. Yes, you were.
No, but today I woke up and my stomach was just like awful. Like I didn't even feel like a hangover. My stomach was just like destroyed.
Yeah, you were not too hot today. So, I think that's fair to say.
Now tell me, does that make any sense to you?
Which is ridiculous because the culprit was on Saturday night, not even last night. I had like 5 beers yesterday, which is nothing for us, which is sad.
Now look at you. Now just look at you now.
Yeah, those White Claws. I love the taste, but man, I don't think I can claw anymore.
Nope. I tried not to either. I mixed some claw with some different juices and vodkas and stuff, but that's what I refuse to do. I refuse to do. Because there's certain things like we talked about the turkey situation. We had so many of these H-E-B ready to cook turkey breasts last Thanksgiving and Christmas that just the thought of it makes me ill. It's the same way with the claw. The thought of the claw makes me feel terrible. But before we get into anything today, and today is a very busy day. Very busy day today. Baseball's going to start on Thursday. And strangely, I'm kind of excited.
You knew it would happen.
I did. That's why I didn't get rid of the baseball package.
But I didn't lie. It would happen.
I didn't lie when I said that I wasn't excited about baseball. But as it's gotten closer.
So are you going to be moving the time for the podcast on Friday to watch your Cardinals at 7:15?
Oh, I don't care about it that much. But I'm not against it right now. You know what I'm saying?
I thought maybe you wanted to hear Mike's first call of the season.
Oh, that's true. I might have to, but I can always go back and hear it. But I don't know what other people are going to want to do now on the podcast. We start at 7 o'clock, and there's going to be baseball on.
I know, it's weird.
Maybe we'll just put the baseball game on up here and just comment on it every night.
Well, the Astros, a lot of their games are starting at 8. I don't know what time the Phillies games start, but I know they're starting later.
Well, I'm actually kind of interested in baseball and sports in general. Like I knew I would be inevitably, but we'll talk about it here in a second. I do have to tell you about Dr. Busby. ToeGrips.com. That is, Joe, I don't care about the score of the Phillies and Yankees game right now. I don't care. Thank you, but I do not care about the score of a spring training, summer camp, meaningless baseball game. I didn't go that far. I didn't go so far as to say I care about exhibition games. But anyway.
The other day, I would have thought the Phillies were winning the World Series from what I saw on Twitter.
Well, that's why I didn't work in Philly all that well, because either they're winning the World Series or they're losing 100 games. There's no in-between with people there. But ToeGrips.com, that's Dr. Busby. Luther takes the Encore Mobility every morning, and you can get it for your dog at ToeGrips.com. It promotes hip and joint flexibility, restores mobility and comfort, renews vigor and vitality. It's an awesome supplement that contains green-lipped muscle and New Zealand deer velvet, which is a novel ingredient not found in the big-name joint supplements in the U.S. So why not get yours now for your dog? It'll help your dog. Even if your dog's a younger dog, you want to just keep them up, keep them going. As your dog gets older, as Luther's getting older, it helps him out. I mean, he flies on this stuff, man. So you should consider it. Also, if you're not considering that, but maybe you have a dog that has a hard time getting around, like I was driving home today, and there were these 2 older dogs. They were labs that were being walked down the street. Poor boys were slow and having a hard time getting around. I can only imagine what it's like on the wood floors in a house. But Toe Grips can help them out. It can help your dogs who are older or dealing with injuries or arthritis, keep them from slipping on the wood floors. And as we see how Luther recovers from whatever injury he has, which we still don't know what the hell it is, Luther may even start with the Toe Grips. I don't know. He very well could. And it might help him and change his life. Because I'll tell you, when Luther starts struggling on that wood floor, man, he changes.
Yep.
So we want that confidence. It can bring that confidence back. Now that we've actually seen this and seeing what the wood floor issues can do for dogs and how it could kill their confidence, well, there you go. But anyway, make sure you check out towgrips.com for all those. MW Soulgrove says, I pimped out the Encore Mobility to a Bulldog group with 6,500 members. Told them to put in Luther to help you out. Hopefully at least a couple of them go for it. Bulldog owners tend to spend quite a bit on their pets, especially in taking preventative measures.
That's
well, thank you,
awesome.
MW Soulgrove. That's someone who is loyal to GIS and understands what it means to have the sponsors happy and help our sponsors out, help people who help us. So
And you're right. The Bulldogs really benefit from this, I
they
feel like.
do. We should have brought some to Scrappy.
Oh, I wonder how
He
his
needs
leg
Scrappy
is.
needs
Yeah.
toe grips. That's what he needs. But go to towgrips.com, use the promo code Luther, 10% off site-wide, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee if the supplements don't work. So make sure you check them out. Towgrips.com, Luther for 10% off site-wide. That's the code at checkout, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. We appreciate everybody jumping in the chat here early, rocking and rolling, everybody enjoying the show, everybody getting in, everybody got their thoughts, everybody ready to go, everybody ready to get those bits in so we can make a little coinage tonight and have a good time. Good radio show today, good energy on the radio show. You know what's making me happier
What?
is the last couple of days I've gone away from talking about the social stuff.
Oh, well, thank God.
And listen, some of them I can't avoid
It's
because
draining, though, after
it
a
is,
while.
but some of those are those type of they sometimes you have to. The Bubba Wallace thing you have to talk
yeah, no,
about.
I agree.
There's certain things you have to talk about. I just got to the point that it just had beaten me over the head and I was so tired of it. I think the reason why I'm excited that sports are coming back is I kind of want to just talk about games in a way. Not all the time. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not Mr. Breakdown every game guy. But 2 months ago, I hated baseball. I hated the idea of it. I hated the players. I hated the owners. I hated the whole damn thing. But as we've gotten closer and it feels like games are at least going to happen, at least to start, I'm kind of excited about it. But I think the main reason is I'm so sick of the Jamel Hills, and I'm so sick of Ted Cruz versus Mark Cuban. I'm so sick of Black Lives Matter. I'm so sick of, well, why can't white lives matter? I'm so sick of I'm just sick of it all. I'm sick of every bit of it. I'm sick of, I'm watching Trump yesterday on Fox, and bless his heart, we are fucked. We have got two just they might both be brain dead.
Yeah, there's no winning.
We're all losers. As we said, I said this on the air today, if both Biden and Trump could just go on a car ride together, I feel like that car would just disappear because either one of them driving is going to drive it into a lake somewhere, and maybe we'll all be better off. So
No, then we're
I'm
gonna get
sick of all of
Then
it.
we're going to get Kanye, who was a loon on his own yesterday, too. That stuff. His
Yeah,
rally.
Yeah, if you want to
Oh,
call
dear.
it that, if you want to call it a rally, but man, I got to a point, and I've gotten to a point where I've gotten so sick of it. If it's a big enough story, I get it. I talked a little bit about the thing with Mark Cuban today, but the reality of Mark Cuban versus Ted Cruz is it's all politics, man. Mark Cuban's pandering to his team. His team is largely black, so of course he's going to pander. Ted Cruz is going to pander to Republicans who hate the idea that the jerseys say Black Lives Matter, but why can't you put free Hong Kong and the police and all that? I just got to a point that I'm sick of it. And you know, it'll come back around. At some point, I'll get sick of the sports and I'll want to talk more about other stuff. That's just how I am.
I give it a week of sports.
No, I don't know. Well, no, here's the difference, though. You say a week of sports. I do talk about sports in a different way. So today I talked about some sports stuff and I enjoyed it. It was fine. I just got to that point where I got so sick of all of these stories. I don't want to alienate people. I don't want to divide people. I don't want my audience. I don't want to run people off. I don't want people to think that they're not welcome in here, right? I don't want that vibe. That's not the vibe I want for a show. That's not the vibe I want for my audience. There are going to be times I'm going to say things that are going to be divisive, right? I understand that. And I'm going to tell you what I honestly think. But I'm just glad that we've hit maybe 2 weeks in a row here where we're not dealing with so many stories that are true sports stories that have tons of racial and social shit. That's what I don't like. So I'm glad we haven't had to deal with that. I'm glad the worst of it is some loser nobody like Jamel Hill saying that white people are all racist if they vote for Trump, even though her mom was black and voted for Trump. Okay? I'm glad we're not at that point anymore. I'm glad there's actual stuff to talk about. I'm glad that things seem to be getting better at least, and I'm in a better mood of it. And then I'm glad, like, here's a bizarre thing. This is maybe one of the more bizarre things that's happened to us. So Jilly posted a random Facebook post status about Taco Bell.
I posted it on Friday when we were wrapping up the podcast. If you were on Twitch after we ended the podcast, you saw how upset I was about these grilled steak tacos going away and the cheesy fiesta potatoes going away and the nacho supreme going away. I actually wrote that post sitting here while we were wrapping up the Twitch.
Yeah.
And I actually just screenshotted the thing on the Taco Bell website because I had seen like all these people were like posting links like, here's the items that are leaving. I'm like, well, I don't want to post a link. I'm just going to post a picture of the actual thing from Taco Bell that says it. Because, if you post a link, it's like, oh, they're just going to bring it back. Well, and if it's in writing, it's easier to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I posted it, and now it's been shared like 34,000 times.
34,000 shares. We tried our damnedest on a regular basis when we were at 790 to get things shared because that's how you get web hits and that's how we would get a bonus, right?
But we'd always have to put a link on the 790 post. And if you put links, Facebook doesn't like show those links. Like it doesn't work with their algorithm. A picture, you have a much better chance.
So what we end up with here is, I mean, and this thing has gone really not even 24 hours if you think about it, because yesterday you were like, wow, I got 100 shares on this. And
No,
I'm like,
it was at like 1,000 yesterday. By yesterday night, it was at like 6,000.
well, that's what I mean. But like yesterday morning, you were like, wow, I'm up to 250. I'm up to 300. It's like,
I was impressed with that.
Me too. Then all of a sudden, like it just caught fire. And before you know it, it was 1,000. Then it was 1,200. Then it was 1,500. Then it was 3,000. I wake up this morning and it's got like 10,000.
Well, it's currently at 35,000, 9.8 thousand comments, and 1.2 thousand likes.
Think about that for a second. Jilly, who, again, we've tried thousands of times to get things shared and to go viral or whatever. And you look at that thing's got 35,000 shares, and I believe it's got thousands of comments as well.
9.8 thousand comments.
How many?
9.8. I just said that.
Oh, sorry. It's got 10,000 comments.
Yeah.
It's got like 1,000 likes.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. Good for you.
That's what, I think you just overthink it sometimes. Like, oh, we have to mess with this algorithm. We have to make sure to use this. Like, this doesn't have any tags in it.
Nope.
It literally has nothing. It's just a picture of a screenshot of the Taco Bell website.
Correct. And this is what we're doing here.
And me saying that this is devastating.
And you posted, obviously, the picture of the press release,
Yep.
right? So, and I think maybe a lot of people, maybe that got shared because maybe it wasn't as big a story for the Facebook people. Maybe it hadn't hit Facebook yet.
Well, no, everything that I'd seen on Facebook was people sharing like an Uprocks link or a NBC link, but no one clicks on links. This, you just see it right in front of you. Like, okay, here's everything that's going away. Boom.
Yep. Jilly's Facebook post on Taco Bell went more viral than Josh's tweet supporting Drew Brees. It did. I think the most viral tweet I've ever had was the Drew Brees one. But then there was another one about Dan Le Batard, and I think it was shared by Le Batard, and it had thousands of likes too, but very rarely do I get that, right? I'm just not so, and I don't care about that kind of stuff either. Like, I don't get excited over the number of likes or shares or retweets.
Bullshit.
I don't. I do not.
Okay.
Oh, I don't. Wait, when do I get excited about those things?
If you hit like 50 likes, you're like, oh, this could be something here.
Well, yes, but I don't sit around and obsess over it. Like most tweets I send out, I understand that they're not going to go viral and they're not going to get 1,000 retweets, right? Like, I understand that. But if it starts to gain legs, I get interested, right? So that Le Batard one that I thought nothing of, it was just a random tweet about Le Batard, and then it takes off, and I don't know how to find how many likes and shares that or retweets it had. I'm fairly certain that the Le Batard one got into like the 5,000 range in likes, which was a pretty big deal. And I don't remember how many the Breeze one had either. Like, I think Breeze might have been the biggest one I've ever had. Do I have a post that's still pinned to my profile? No, I don't. So I'm curious. I don't remember. Maybe somebody could find that for me. I don't know. Because I don't know where the damn tweet is. So that tweet is so far away.
To note
so.
that I posted this exact same thing on Twitter and I got 2 likes.
Correct.
So
but it got the
funny.
right crowd on Facebook. You got the right old white people that were upset about this.
These are not old white people at all, actually.
I thought that's all that Facebook was old angry white
because they're all
people.
sending me friend requests and they're not old.
That's also weird to just send a friend request to someone because you shared their random post.
So many of these. Like, I'm just not adding anybody because then I'll run out of space. But
then you'll know what it's like to be me. I ran out of space a long time ago. So get you some of that action, friend. But yeah, so Jilly's up to 35,000 shares on this Facebook post, which I don't know that. Like, do you know what your second biggest post ever? Like, I can't, probably not even in the
Nothing
hundreds.
like that. No, I've never had like the most shares I've ever got.
35,000.
Probably is like 10 shares.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to go back and find that tweet, but the Drew Brees one. But the Brees tweet was probably the biggest one I've ever had. I'm sure somebody can find it. People like your glasses, Jilly. They're big fans of it.
Thank you.
You've got the Doris Burke action going today, which is super hot for the people. They really enjoy the Doris Burke look today. And by the way, if you guys want to go to Jilly's Facebook, she's Jilly O'Silly on Facebook, and go share this just to keep the magic alive. Why not? People are throwing in a lot of bits here, by the way. Thank you, Spank It, Slap It. Thank you, Krilla Gorilla. Appreciate everybody for throwing in some bits. We got some resubs. People got to get the subs back up, too. I haven't really been paying attention to the subs, but that's another revenue stream for us on there. It doesn't cost you anything if you have Amazon Prime. So if you subscribe, it costs you nothing, and it puts a couple extra bucks in our pockets. So we would really appreciate that. Here's a great question, and the answer is no. The question is, did she plug the podcast?
No.
And no, because what, like the one thing that Jilly's done that's blown up, that either of us have done that's blown up on Facebook, isn't anything to do with the podcast. So, like, it's not like someone would see a link in there and go, or not even a link, but like a logo, and they go, oh, what is the Josh Ennis Show? If this chick has thoughts like this, I really want to hear what she has to say on a podcast. No, not even there at all. Nothing at all. So, like, as far as they know, again, you're just some random broad, some random hot chick. I bet you a lot of guys share things. They see a hot chick.
Mostly girls, honestly. Are
Well,
like
a bunch of lesbians then go out and they share
I was going
them.
to add like some of these girls sending me friend requests just to balance out my page, because it's mostly most of your listeners that are just like, on my Facebook.
Yes.
I'd say my Facebook page is largely men. So I was like, maybe I should just add some of these females to kind of balance it out.
Maybe so. But this is a big day, 35,000. And then I'll look 20 minutes later, there's a new 1,000 likes, a new 500 likes, or not even likes, but it's shares.
Yep.
God, if we just could have found some way to tie the podcast into this could have been where our ship really came in.
But again, what you have to understand is no one clicks links.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't even have to be the links, just something that popped, and even if it was just a logo, and they would go, well, what's the Josh Ennis Show? And then, boom, we grow that way.
They probably wouldn't even notice the logo, to be honest with
Probably not, but all I'm saying is there had to have been some way. There had to have been some way that could have helped the podcast. One of these days, I'm going to learn the social media game, and at some point, this podcast is going to blow
The
up.
social media game is pretty simple. You just can't promote things. Like, Facebook knows when you're promoting something, and it will not show that post unless you pay to promote it. Like, they're not stupid. They got to get their money, too.
They don't need my money. Sons of bitches. They don't
Especially
need my
like,
money
so
at
like
all.
you having a fan page,
Yeah.
it really doesn't show anything unless you pay.
What if I posted it on my personal page?
Then you'd have a better chance.
I see.
But if you post a link, it won't.
Figure that out. Getting screwed. That's why Mattress Mac spends all that money promoting things on his Facebook, even though he's got a ton of followers already. Like, so they spend so much money on promoting posts and stuff over there. They're smart about what they do. But this is where this big day for us here. Just watching Jilly's posts continue to get shares and likes and everything else. It's a very big day here in the home, in our homestead. So, but baseball is back this weekend. I'm ready to bet on some games. I'm excited about that. Ready to get back into the betting game. I think that could save us. I do. I think, what's going to happen is I'm going to guide us to victory is what I'm going to do.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to take us from the bottom, and we're going to go up to the top.
You better not enter your credit card information.
I'm going to take us from the bottom to the top.
You
And I'm
cannot
going to
save
do it on
your credit card info.
mybookie.ag is where I'm going to do it.
Do
They're a big
not
sponsor of the
store.
radio show. And I'm telling you, and here's the thing, and I had a big discussion about this on the radio show today about my inability to be disciplined, right? So, like, I lost 30 some odd pounds over the course of like a month, right? Then I plateaued, and instead of getting disciplined and kind of revving it up and going harder, I just said, nah, screw it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So and then I end up falling off the wagon. It's the same thing with everything. We talked about this. So when I get a radio job, I love the first 2 years of it because I come in, I'm kind of the new hot rod on the air, and people think I'm wacky, and they're like, "Wow, this guy really brings the heat." You know what I'm saying? And then by the time I get to the top, I'm like, well, now what? Now what do I do? And then I get bored.
Yep.
And then I derail myself because I have to do that. I need that conflict. And that's how it is with gambling with me. With gambling, I feel like I can have great success, but somehow I need to lose. And I don't know why that is and what part of my mental makeup that is, but I'm telling you, I got to change that. Maybe this is the moment that changes. Being out of a job for 16 months or 14 months, however long it's been, 15 months, that kind of teaches you, hey, appreciate the job. So once you get to the top, you want to stay at the top because you're running out of chances to get to the top, sink to the bottom, and then rise up again. You're running out of those chances. And gambling's the same way because your boy ain't just flush with that cash he was flush with before where you could just go, oh, I just blew $3,000. Well, bam, $3,000. That's fine. Boy ain't like that anymore. That's not the way life is
and
for me
your boy
anymore.
still has thousands of dollars of debt.
He does.
Yeah.
But he's been paying that. He's been paying towards it, okay? But I'm telling you, I think this is the answer. I think this big moment in time where we've got baseball all day and hockey all day and basketball all day, if I'm disciplined, that's my biggest problem in life. I'm not a disciplined person. If I could be disciplined in everything, if I were disciplined, I'd still be in Philadelphia. If I were disciplined, even though I got whacked in Philly, I'd still be in say, Houston. It's discipline. That's where I struggle, right? That's why I got to get it right. The discipline is where I have a problem. So if I could figure that out and just say, Josh, you don't have to bet on every game. Bet on the ones you think are winners. Bam, I'm back in the game. If I can figure that out, if I can do that and start using my brain and just saying, no, Josh, don't bet on this random, hey, just because it's on at 2 a.m. and it's Hawaii versus Purdue, you don't need to bet on it just because it's there on your board. Bet on the ones you believe in. And if I do that, we're making dollar bills, y'all. That's what we're doing. And it's going to be huge. I got a good feeling about this.
Until the tax time rolls around.
Well, you know what, though? And if that happens, it happens.
I think that's what's fascinating about your whole gambling adventure is that 1 year,
Yep.
you between all the random $2,000 checks that would show up from overseas,
Yep.
you made probably $10,000.
Oh, there was that time. I mean, I did pretty well, yeah.
And then your boy Martin's okay, so you owe almost double that.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I've screwed up.
And then
but I
you're
think I get
oh,
it
God,
now.
I can't win.
Now, Sweet Joe 88 says everyone loses. Bankroll management and discipline is key. All a matter of minimizing stupid mistakes with all the sports going on. I agree with that. What happens is I'll get to a point where I'll lose a game and I'll be so ticked off about the way I lost it. I'll get dumb and I'll just say, well, here's $500 on this game just because it's the one game that was going on. It's all about mind over matter, man. That's what we're dealing with here. It's mind over matter. And Joe in Philly is right. You're bound to lose a shit ton if you're gambling just to have action. That's where I make my mistake. I get bored and I'm like, oh, screw it. I'm up a lot anyway. So here's this. And then before I know it, I lose a couple. Then I'm like, well, I got to get back to the 5,000 I was at. So I'll bet here, and here. And before you know it, that 5,000 becomes 1,000 and I'm pissed. So I'll make one giant 4-team parlay or 3-team parlay for 1,000, lose it all. Then before you know it, I'm depositing again. That's the mindset I got to get out of. And it'd be a lot easier if I were in Vegas. Because if I were in Vegas, I would feel I would have cash on hand and it would be a lot different. But when I do it online, I get that different kind of...
you don't realize it's real money.
Until it's real money, which it is now, which completely understand it is. So make no mistake about that. Your boy understands that.
And with the interest, you've double lost.
Oh God, yeah. But you know what? It's time to straighten the. I'm telling you, it's time to find a new course, and it's gonna happen. Now, if you guys do like to online gamble and you like to bet online and you haven't, you don't have a site you like, this would actually help me. If you go to betonline.ag and use that.
That's not the website you're endorsing.
Not that. What did I say? BetOnline, idiot. It is mybookie.ag. Don't go to BetOnline; they suck. Go to mybookie.ag. It's a sponsorship through the radio station. Use the promo code radio. That can help put money in my pocket. Just use the promo code radio, and you get a by the way, you get 100% deposit. So if you put in 100, you get $100 from them, and you get a $10 free bet on a baseball future. So whatever your team is, say like the Phillies, I don't know what their World Series odds are. Odds to win it all. They're not going to. But if you'd like to put that in, you can. And, $10. Like, I think the Astros are 5-1, $10, you win $50. Just a little bit of fun. So have some fun with it, kiddos. But if you do decide to bet on the internet, use mybookie.ag and use the promo code radio. Will you start doing picks and game suggestions again? You bet your ass I will. I'm back in the game, man. Let's see. Josh will be okay if he gets a part-time radio gig at ESPN Las Vegas. I'm not getting a part-time gig at ESPN Las Vegas. I do not know who this old greatness is, but I want to punch this person in the face.
Also,
because they ask nothing but radio questions, so you're clearly someone who either is in the business or writes about the business or one of these weird wackos that just follows the business way too close.
Also, you did email them.
I did. And I think we talked about that.
Yep.
I emailed. I was Friday. I was on the can. I'm like, I'll send them an email. Never heard back. But I mean, I didn't expect to really. So I figured I saw that they had an opening. They said, send your, it wasn't one of those things where you apply. It was just, hey, send an email to this. So I did. I don't know if they even need part-time people. You know what I'm saying? But I'd go live in Vegas and go bet on sports and talk on the radio. That sounds like actually the dream is what that sounds like. And I would love it. So, but at this point, I don't foresee that happening only. Well, here's what they need to do. They need to get some good radio there because now they have the NFL, they have the NHL, and before you know it, they'll have basketball or baseball. One of them will be there. And all of a sudden, Vegas is a major sports town. I mean, it's already a big sports gambling town, but you add the NFL, you need to be focused on adding real good sports radio, not just a bunch of jabronis that get on the radio and tout games and stuff. I'm talking about big, I'm talking entertainment. Let's see, questions. Over-under on Correa getting hurt this season. Well, there really is no over-under. I mean, for it to be an over-under, you would have to say over-under 10.5 games before he gets hurt. There's no, you can't say over-under Correa gets hurt. That doesn't really make any sense.
Or he'll end up with the Rona. Like, if anybody on that team's going to get the Rona, it'll be Correa. That's just his luck.
Yeah, oh, no. He will get hurt because that's what he does, but I don't know how soon he will. Have you thought of emailing 97.5 in Philly and asking if they'll let you on if you pay them? Don't be a dick. I have not paid to be on the radio before.
That would be the ultimate.
That would be the ultimate. Like, listen, guys, I'm going to put a couple of bucks in your pocket. I'll pay you. Listen, if I were going to pay to be on the radio, I sure as shit wouldn't go up to Philly to do it.
You'd pay to be on in Vegas.
Yeah, if I had to like have someone pay to be on the air, which there are people that do that and they make money doing that, right? The last place I would go to is Philly for that. I'd go somewhere I'd actually want to live and enjoy my life.
That being said, they never emailed you back, huh?
Let me check. Who knows? They might email me back today.
This is what, last week you emailed them saying you'd work for free to do a weekend shift?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did not email me back. I have not. So we'll just, again, that's fine with me. I know you do that as a joke and you guys like to make fun of me, and that's fine. I'm not even looking at that. Like if they were to call back and they were to say, do you want to do something, then I'd entertain it. But I'm not sitting there thinking about it every night.
The whole reason we started busting your balls about this is because you emailed them again.
Okay. But listen, you got to stay out there and you got to keep hustling. But the way I view it is, I don't think anything's going to come up before the season. So odds are we're probably here August, September, October.
Well, remember, Nikki had the prediction.
Yeah.
The drunken.
I don't remember this because I was a bit blitzed
prediction.
on Saturday.
She saw the number 2.
Yeah.
And snow.
So that just means we're moving somewhere where it snows.
Maybe. I don't know what snow means over the number 2. Maybe you get a job in February. That's the second month. I don't know. That's what she saw.
Either way.
So piece that together.
So the way it looks, we're going to be here in Houston anyway. I still have a possibility of getting the podcast on with a big site, right, which would be huge for us. And I also have the 97.5 show, which I have until I don't want it anymore, right? And they're starting to get some live spots for that, which means some money's going to start coming in. So we're not dying here. If someone called and said, hey, here's a job, I'd take it if it were a good job, obviously. But, I'm not overly worried. I think that once we start getting a couple live endorsements on this 97.5, that's good. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind going through the season with all the sports we have going on here. And as I told you, I'm about to just crush on mybookie.ag. I'm about to make it my girlfriend is what I'm about to do. I'm going to crush.
Gotcha.
And you know damn good and well that's going to happen.
That means at some point we're going to drive to freaking Mississippi, doesn't it?
We could, if you'd like to. I mean, it's the closest place to go to bet on sport.
I don't know. My car may die.
It could.
This thing.
Yeah, it's not great. The car is
2
not
weeks
great.
ago, we spent another $400 on new tires. And what happens today? Oh, the tire light's on again.
Yeah.
This freaking piece of crap.
I know. So that's
Can
something.
you win enough money to buy a car? Can we just make that the goal?
Well,
Because
Jilly.
I'm sick of putting thousands of dollars in this car.
Well, here's what I would tell you on that there, Jilly. Is that shouldn't be the number one goal, but because, I think that maybe, the goal should be to make enough money to live. But
Yeah.
if you'll let me gamble with the thought that the goal is to get a car and that's the only way I'm allowed to gamble, then God, yes, we'll buy you a car with our winnings from the gambling. Because we're gonna bring Vegas down.
I guess we should also pay off the other gambling debt first.
Well, we'll work on that too.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it. It's by
There's
the way,
a few
people say it's
things.
not gambling debt. It's not like I owe some bookie who's gonna break my leg.
It's gambling debt. You're
But
paying.
it is. But
you're
it
paying
is.
like 30% interest on these like thousands of dollars.
First of all, I've never had 30% interest on any credit card. That's false.
It's
but
27%.
okay, but hold on. I just want to be clear because people hear this and they assume that I've got some bookie that I owe money to and he's going to come break my legs. It's just credit cards. So I mean, yes, I've been paying off the credit cards
With
and I
like
moved some of the money.
27% interest.
That's fine. But hold on. I also moved over like $6,000 of it to another card that doesn't have any interest for like 18 months. Okay.
Well, that's good. So the interest is now only on like a couple grand.
Yes, that's fine.
You're still paying like 5 times
Okay,
the amount of
that's
money
fine.
you
Okay,
spent.
but I can't take that back.
I
Okay,
know.
that happened. That has happened. And I'm sorry that it happened. Okay. But
Self-control again.
no,
back to that.
discipline. Discipline. Okay. And I'm going to get there. Okay. But what I'm trying to tell you here is this, that I can't help what's happened in the past. The past is the past. So you can keep mocking me for it and laughing at
I
me
will.
and scoffing at me. And that's fine. But I'm going to get it all back. It's all going to come back around again. Don't focus. Everybody says don't focus on the past, right? They go, stop talking about IP. Stop talking about this. I don't talk about it that much. I'm out of that. Okay. I had every opportunity. The other day, somebody sent me a message and was like, Ike Reese was shitting on you. I don't care that Ike Reese is shitting on me. I don't need to talk about it. My life isn't, I don't care about Ike Reese.
I was actually very impressed that you did not respond to that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care about that shit anymore. I really don't.
Good.
I'm focused about moving forward. But you guys keep bringing up the fact that I owe thousands of dollars on credit cards, which are not all from gambling. Some of it is.
Most.
Not all of it. The majority of it is. Okay? But you are the one staying in the past. I'm trying to move into the future. I'm trying to go forward. You're bringing me backwards.
Well, I wouldn't say that's the past because that debt is current. That's not the past. That's still an issue.
But the debt is current.
Yes.
But the actions that led to the debt, that's the past.
Okay.
That's
Right.
almost a year ago. So I'm good. I don't need any of this hate from you people. You people are
dear.
far too hateful.
Oh, Lord.
Josh should pull Mattress Mac and go to Mississippi and have a brown bag, put up 500 on O'Brien to win the AFC Championship. Well, I don't want to do that only because I have to wait months for that to happen. I'm trying to win now. Also, I did have the idea once to have Mattress Mac just put up X amount of dollars to send me to Vegas and bet
yeah.
for a month. I was going to live in a house. That was a big plan I had like 6 months ago. Then I, never came to fruition.
well, then the Rona happened. Then you can't really, you don't want to ask for things during the Rona. It's sensitive.
Let's see. Josh sounds like the alcoholic who is 6 months sober and says, "You know what? I can handle my drinking this time." I don't sound like that because I'm not an alcoholic and I'm not a degenerate gambler.
Well,
Because I've been doing it for a year. I told you I have an obsessive, like a compulsive personality where I'll eat the same thing for lunch for a month. I'll eat the same thing for dinner for a month, and then I'll stop, and I don't do it for months after that. That's how my personality is. Let's see. Let's see. Jilly needs to get a 9 to 5 so Josh can focus on his dreams. That's the answer. Jilly, you should go work at IHOP so I can sit at home and gamble.
you literally told me that the other day.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit at home and gamble, and I'm going to make us the real coin.
Because we were talking about that. Like, we're probably, if, nothing pans out here, we're going to have to find, real jobs. And you go, well, I'm doing ESPN. You're going to have to go find the real job. Thanks, Josh.
Well,
Though, to be fair, I have applied for real world jobs, and I've actually worked a real world job unlike you.
that's true. Well,
So-
okay, oh, great. Why is everything about how I don't do things?
Because that was the joke. Is like, oh, Julie's going to work the 9 to 5. No, that's literally a conversation we had the other day.
It is. But you know what? I think it is confirmed that I'm about to get us out of the hole.
Yes, that is confirmed.
Yep. Did we ever make a cameo for me on Saturday? I don't remember.
I don't know.
How much money do you think I could make from a cameo? Like, I'm not going to charge $100, but if I charge like $25 for a cameo, do you think drunk bros would be like, Josh Allen's bliggity blue? Like, do you think, like, if they're hammered on a Saturday,
Maybe.
they'll spend $25 to have me do a video?
Probably.
I'm thinking, you know what? There's another revenue stream. I'm coming up with ideas. I'm an idea man. See, Clyde has it. McDougal might do it. McDougal totally would.
You know, McDougal would do it like McDougal would have his friend who hates you and always hated you on WIP.
Yep.
And then they would have make a video for that person that hates you. That's how you would make your money.
Yep. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe $20. Somebody's saying $10. I ain't doing that shit for $10. But now the question would be, would it be just a wacky novelty and I do it so cheap that more people would actually do it because it's cheap? So, like, they don't want to get their buddy like $400 to have like Arn Anderson or somebody.
Well, no.
So they have me for $10.
I think 10's a little low.
Because in Philly, I think I'd get a lot of run. I'm still a very big celebrity there. Not celebrity enough to get a job there, but celebrity enough for some drunk McDougal to be like, you know what? We're going to call Josh blue, blue, blue. That would be it. So let me get into some spots here, and then we got some other stuff. I mean, I got all sorts of stuff to get. I mean, we got baseball coming up. We got Mark Cuban and Ted Cruz going at each other, pandering to their people. We got so much. There's just a lot going on in the world. You know, who knows what's going to happen with these football fellas, right?
Steven Adams rules.
Steven Adams does rule, and he's always ruled. And God, in a perfect world, Steven Adams and my Oklahoma City Thunder would beat the Rockets in the playoffs.
Chuck said the same thing.
Because Chuck and I have the same favorite team, and that favorite team is whatever team is playing the Rockets.
True.
And that is our favorite team, and don't you forget it. Thank you very much. I just appreciate it. There are Philly people who are excited. I got into some argument with some McDougal. Not even an argument, but it was like Saturday. Well, here's what bothered me, annoyed me. I guess I still follow some people from WIP, right? And I forgot this guy's name, Fritz. I don't know who he is. I don't think I've ever met him. Fritz. I don't even know how I follow him. Was he at WIP when I was there? I honestly don't know. Maybe that's why I'm not working there anymore, because I don't know who was there when I was there.
That may have something to do with it.
But I don't know. But he posts something, it was typical Philly. And when I say it's typical Philly, they always have to call out like the passion of other cities when it comes to their fans, right? Because like that's what they have to do. That's like it gives Philly people power to talk shit about how they care more than anybody. Yet they care so much, yet the city never wins shit. Do you ever wonder if it's maybe you? I don't know. But so this guy posts something about how the defending World Series champions can't even broadcast their first exhibition game. How lame, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's an exhibition game. If they win, you're going to say it means they're going to the World Series. If they lose, you're going to say they're terrible, or you're going to say it's just an exhibition game. So it annoyed me, but I retweeted that, and it led to a bunch of McDougals. Maybe you'd have a radio job in sport. Now I kind of get why you don't. You don't even like baseball. No, I don't like exhibition sports because they're all terrible. That's why. Who cares about an exhibition game? But of course, they scored like 7 runs, and everybody was like, "Oh, look at the Phils! Bryce Harper hit a home run." And then, of course, they lost the next one, and of course, it's just an exhibition.
Season's over.
It's just an exhibition, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, but so that annoyed me because see, Philly's got a weird dynamic, and the dynamic is like they have to swing their sword over how they're better fans than everybody. It has to pain people in Philly to see other cities that don't have people as passionate as they are continue to win. And maybe if Philly people looked in the mirror on occasion and realized that they act like Neanderthals often, maybe that's why teams don't win. You know what I'm saying? That could be. That could play a part in it. Houston's got a World Series championship, right? Different attitude here. It's not. It's. I think Houston is more laid back than I'd like it to be.
Much more laid back.
And it's a little bit. I would prefer they be a little bit more Philly or Northeast in terms of the attitude. But maybe if Philly people dialed it back a notch, maybe people would actually enjoy playing sports there. Like Philly is the king of like people have to pander to you. That's why. That's part of the reason I didn't work there. Part of the reason I didn't work in Philly is because I don't like to pander to people and tell you how great you are all the time. I like you. You're good people. I don't need to get on every day and tell you how great of fans you are. Anybody with a brain would know it's fake, and it's nothing but politics. All right, anyway.
Yes, that is confirmed.
Wrong button, but thank you, Brock. All right, who do I have to tell them about?
Mac Knight Safety Solutions.
Clyde says that was actually the topic on WIP today. Do we help or hurt our teams? Shocker. Let's see here. So you said Mac Knight Safety Solutions?
I did.
Mac Knight Safety Solutions. They are in the business of what, Jilly?
Safety.
Safety. That's right. Safety. And they are in the safety staffing and consulting business. They're located in Rosenberg, just outside of Houston. They work nationwide and international projects. Here's how this whole thing works. So when companies have temporary need for safety oversight on projects, they use the folks at Mac Knight Safety Solutions versus hiring their own people. They work in industrial and commercial construction, oil field and manufacturing facilities, and they also conduct facility audits for regulatory compliance, and they assist their clients with developing and maintaining comprehensive safety programs. This aids them in obtaining work and reduces costs associated with workers' comp insurance and reduces employee risk and possible fines associated with non-compliance. They are wonderful people. They are great. We love them. Killer, I tell you. Doing a great job. 832-363-1295. 832-363-1295 is the number. You can check them out on Facebook if you need them. They are there. Mac Knight Safety Solutions. What is next, Jilly?
Next is Metro Ready Mix.
Metro Ready Mix. They are in the concrete business. That's where they are. And they're in the parking lots and pool decks and patios and driveways and slab work. That's what they're in the business of, baby. They are in the business of, large and small concrete orders. That's what they're in the business of, and they're the best in the game. They've been at it for a long time. They're good enough for ex-NBA superstars like Hakeem, The Dream, Olajuwon. And if they're good enough for one of the 3 greatest players to ever play sports in Houston, then I think they're good enough for you, friend. So check them out. They've gained a reputation as an exceptionally trustworthy concrete company. They concentrate on developing long-term client relationships through superior services and strict attention to detail. So check them out. Their website is metroreadymix.net. The phone number is 713-991-6466, 713-991-6466, or in Crosby at 713-677-9699. Our friend Richard, I don't know if he's in the chat tonight, but he pops in every now and then. Big supporter of GIS, member of GIS Nation, wonderful human. Make sure you check them out online, metroreadymix.net. That time of year for the pool decks and maybe a little basketball goal, new driveway. It's time for it with Metro Ready Mix and metroreadymix.net. There you go.
It was funny.
What's that,
I
Jelly?
just watched this video of the White Sox just beating up on Yu Darvish here in the first inning.
It's fun to watch.
In this
like,
practice baseball game.
Mhm.
But what's fun is that if you watch it, it looks just like a normal Sox game. Like hit play. It doesn't even feel different.
Let's see.
Because there's nobody there. And I love the White Sox, but
It's true.
It looks just the same.
Well, the only thing missing is the dude that wears the M&M's
like
jacket.
When it goes to the out, like when it goes out of the park, you're like,
Yeah,
there's no one there.
Yeah, that's exactly how that
looks just
ballpark
the
looks
same.
all the time. Absolutely it does.
My goodness, I like those jerseys though.
Yeah, me too. Baseball's back,
And there's
baby.
5 people scattered here in the front, and that's just usually how it looks.
It is, but there's also a guy that wears like a NASCAR M&M's jacket behind home plate all the time there.
Usually.
And he is not there that time because he obviously can't be there.
They need the cardboard cut out of him then.
So are they doing the cardboard cutouts too, or is that
I
just
don't know.
certain places?
I think certain places
I think
are.
San
don't know if-
Francisco is.
I think the Mets are.
Speaking of baseball, so Fauci is going to throw out the first pitch in Washington for opening day.
Oh, and it's heroic.
Okay, whatever. First of all, Fauci's wrong pretty frequently on this stuff. At least he's been wrong about some pretty big things like this is not going to impact the U.S., and he scoffed at masks at one point. Yet because of Trump derangement syndrome, they all hate Trump and they like Fauci. And no matter what Fauci does, I'll tell you what, we saw this the other day. Fauci on the cover of InStyle magazine with the sunglasses on. I wanted to throw that phone that I saw through the wall. Because can you imagine? Again, I'm not a pro-Trump guy by any means. I'm not a pro-anybody guy. You know I hate politicians. They're sleazy, scummy, inherently dishonest people, right? I hate them. But if Trump were to be on the cover of InStyle magazine wearing sunglasses by a pool, he'd get destroyed. And people would say, why aren't you out there saving the country? Why aren't you fixing all the issues? But Fauci's in his sunglasses in a magazine, and it's like, oh, there's Fauci.
No,
I
if
hate Fauci.
If Trump were throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game,
Oh,
be like,
God, yeah.
what? This is really dangerous. Why would you be around this? This is, this isn't essential. But Fauci's doing it, and I'm seeing like people on Twitter like, this is amazing. I will stand up and applaud from my house.
Oh, whatever.
Lord.
Whatever, man.
Lord.
And the funny part is he's throwing out the first pitch at a game in which nobody is there. He's throwing out a first pitch in front of cardboard cutouts. So it's like it's not. First of all, if he doesn't throw a perfect strike with nobody watching, he's the worst.
That's powerful, man.
He's the worst. If you can't throw a strike with no crowd, I mean, like, let me tell you something. Here's a hot take. The greatest sports moment in the history of America, the greatest, was George W. Bush on the mound, Yankee Stadium, 2001 World Series, just less than 2 months after 9/11. He walks out there with a bulletproof vest on under his jacket, walks out there. You talk about cool as a mofo, man.
That was
the
pretty awesome.
greatest moment I've ever seen you talk about balls, man. The balls to walk out there. There's not an empty seat in Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's packed. And there's all this pressure. And more people are watching the World Series then than they are now. I mean, it's New York. It's the Yankees. It's where 9/11 happened. It's the president. And you want to talk about unifying moments, which don't exist. You can like Trump or not like Trump. But nothing's unifying anymore. Nobody unifies. Everybody's divisive. That moment was a unifying moment. When W walks out, he's got a bulletproof vest on. And my man doesn't go halfway between home and the mound to make sure he throws a strike. My man gets up on the mound, little wave, gets up there, bam, right down central. It is the greatest sports moment in the history ever. You can talk about the shot heard around the world. You can talk about any great moment that's ever been in sports. People talk about Reggie Jackson hitting 3 home runs. You can talk about the band is on the field. You could talk about all these historic great moments and wild moments. W throwing that strike in that setting, in that moment, is the greatest sports moment. I count that as a sports moment. That is the greatest sports moment in the history. In the history of sports. Like, if you, like, it's, and I'm not a political guy, obviously, but I'm 16 at the time. I guess I'm 15. I guess I'd be 15 at the time, man. And when you're watching that, like at 15, I didn't get the impact of it, right? Like I didn't even get the impact really of 9/11 when I was 15. You knew it was big and you knew it was bad. But I remember being on the bus on the way home from school, and the thing I was most upset about is they canceled the Cardinals game. I think they were playing the Brewers that night.
Oh, boy.
But in my mind, that's all I think. I'm 15. I'm a kid. I'm an idiot, right? So I don't really know the magnitude of that moment. So I'm just sitting around waiting for baseball to come back, and I'm not really thinking about this stuff. So I watched it live, the W throw, and I'm like, okay, whatever, right? But when he goes out and delivers, like, that's movie stuff. That's the kind of stuff that happens in a movie. That's scripted stuff. That's Rocky. I mean, that doesn't happen in real life. Very rarely is there a moment where you'd go, wow, that actually couldn't have happened in a movie because it's too perfect and people would accuse you of being cliched and too perfect in the moment. That moment was one of those. And it was the greatest moment in the history of sports. It was unreal. See that Antonio Brown is retiring? Again? Yep, he is. I didn't know he was still not retired. I know he was talking with the Texans.
Well, he'd retired, then unretired, then retired and unretired, and now he's retiring again because he's not, it's not safe.
Well, it might not be safe because he's a nutbag. I think things aren't safe because I don't think his brain works too good.
So the Rona is out. That's why he's retiring.
Now I'm guessing he's not really retiring. My guess is he will be back.
Well, again,
but I don't know the thing is who wants him. The Texans could have signed him, right? Like that was the talk, is the Texans were interested. The Texans are doing anything they can to make up for the fact that they look like boobs for the return they got for DeAndre Hopkins. And this could be their moment. They go out. Now, I wouldn't view it as an even trade because Brown blows everything up. He's an idiot. He farts on people.
I would like to see a conversation between Bill O'Brien and Antonio Brown, though. I think that could be great.
He's like, holy smokes, Abe.
Holy smokes, John.
Like, they might just literally get into a fist fight.
They might, but...
Or they'd be kindred spirits.
That's
They might
true.
be besties.
That's true. It's kind of like that. Like sometimes you get the kid that's slow and like the dog seems to gravitate towards the kid that's slow. Maybe AB is the kid that's slow, and maybe that Bill O'Brien is his dog that just gets him.
Maybe.
That could be it too.
Or they just hate everybody so much that they get along with each other.
It could be, but it doesn't appear that it's going to happen.
That's a shame.
I know that people, like the number of people who are so excited about the idea of AB playing for the Texans. I saw a lot of people like that because a lot of people were saying, boy, you totally redeemed yourself if that happens. Not really. No, you let go of a guy who seems to be a pretty straight shooter, doesn't miss games, seems to be a pretty solid teammate, for a guy who's pretty much known as blowing up the Pittsburgh Steelers, a guy who jerked off on some like lady in his house, right? I believe that was the story.
A painter,
She claims, I think it was his personal trainer maybe, or was it a painter?
No, she was painting like a mural or something.
And he just goes over and starts cranking one out on her back or something. And of course, he farted on a doctor multiple times and just laughed about it. We've discussed how we believe he's got CTE. He's clearly a mental midget. But DeAndre Hopkins for AB would not exactly be a straight up trade. Oh, and I forgot this. AB would have made bank with the Raiders too. Just straight up was like, nah, peace out. I forget about that time with the Raiders.
Yep.
He's a loon. Like, you just can't trust those kind of guys. I get that you want to try to bring in talented people, right? You should want to bring in talented people because talented people are needed. You need those type of people to play. And listen, I think I'm a talented person, right? And I get where people are afraid of me because I've blown up a couple of times. But I think that is a mentally unstable dude is what we're dealing with AB here. And I don't even care that the Texans got rid of Hopkins. I think what they got in return was just awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, it was terrible. And that was the bigger thing. If they get a couple of first rounders or whatever, and, you know, maybe you go, okay, I get it. What they got back in return was junk. But AB would not have been a replacement for Hopkins because, real talk, the guy wouldn't have survived here. He would have eventually gotten dumped anyway. But he clearly has, he's clearly a mental midget.
I'm up to 36,000 shares now.
Let's see here. The Texans blow. Wow. How many?
36,000.
So Jilly's, she just keeps blowing
That's
up.
another 1,000 in the time that we've been doing this.
I know. That's
So
amazing
ridiculous.
how this is working. So I guess someone's in the chat going off on the Texans for no apparent reason. I have no idea what the Texans did to anybody. But no one's. Here's the thing. Here's the interesting part. I think it's a Philly person that's trying to go after Texans people. Here's the thing, Philly guy. The people in Houston they're not nearly as psychotic about the Texans as Philly people are about the Eagles. So when you kind of start your shit with people, they don't really care.
Yeah, they're not going to fight you here.
They're not going to fight you over this. Go try to fight somebody else, but trying to fight people in Houston over this, most of them don't care. Like O'Brien chokes every year. Here's the thing. Unlike in Philly, where it seems like people make excuses and they're in denial about shitty coaches and players.
Oh, no, we know that here.
Everybody knows that Bill O'Brien is shitty.
Not
Like,
one person here defends Bill O'Brien.
Do
You're not
really,
gonna...
do you really think that anybody in this chat is going to be like, oh, I'm going to fight you over that?
This whole city knows what happens every year. You win the division, and then you lose in the first or second round.
Nobody gives a
That's
damn.
how it goes. Like, no one's going to get angry with you trying to provoke stuff like that.
So are they bad fans? No, they're just apathetic fans. In regards to the Texans, nobody gives a shit about the Texans around here. They're a fake franchise that came in after the real franchise left. There's no passion for the Texans here. People go to the games and people are seen at the games and they buy
It's a fun
tickets.
time.
But I don't think anybody really, like the masses don't give a damn about what happens here. So if what you're trying to do is start some sort of troll war with Texans people, you're not going to find anybody doing that. You know, like you're not going to get that. No one's going to fight you over it because nobody cares, right? And that's kind of the meatheadedness of McDougal, is McDougal is just always looking to fight somebody, and McDougal always wants to like swing his sword and show off his Philly pride for his team that nobody gives a shit about outside of Philly. Nobody cares about the Texans inside of Houston, so no one's going to fight you over that, and no one's going to, they don't care. Let's see. Jilly is the number one Texans Bill O'Brien stan.
Holy smokes, John.
I hate that term, stan.
But that's you, isn't it? You are the number one Bill O'Brien stan. I think
no,
that's fair.
because if I were a stan, I wouldn't like tweet shit about him. But sometimes I do tweet when he sucks. But if I'm a stan, then I'm tweeting constantly about how I love him.
Yeah.
I think he's fun.
What would you say is the team in Houston? I know it's a fan base that doesn't care about anything. I'd say probably the Astros right now. But if the
yeah.
Astros had 2 or 3 years of sucking, nobody would care about them either. The first time I was here, they were rebuilding and nobody cared. There were 20 people at the game. Nobody gave a damn. Let's see here. But you snap about the Saints. I do at times. Sometimes the way they've lost the last 3 years in the playoffs, I do. Listen, I'm not telling you to not have passion about your team, but if what you're doing, it's one thing to come in here and fight me about the Saints where I have some passion. I don't think the people that are listening to my podcast are really going to be baited into anything with McDougal as it relates to the Texans. Like, nobody cares enough to defend. Like, no one's going to defend Bill O'Brien because nobody outside of Jilly likes Bill O'Brien.
We were messing with a Zoom.
So I don't think you have to worry about it.
And again, you have to understand, I think he's a terrible coach. I just enjoy his press conferences.
But you enjoy him. It's the same way I kind of enjoy Trump. Like, I know he's a clusterfuck,
Yes.
but his press conferences amuse me and his tweets amuse me.
It's entertaining.
Like, I don't like Trump because I think he's a good president. I like him because he's entertaining. Like when he tweets that, hey, this is your favorite president. Like,
And we were
it's fun
debating
to
this.
me.
So do you think like he wrote that tweet today and was like, your favorite president, this is a good line. I'm going to put this in here and watch people just like make fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
Or does he really talk like that?
Great question. I don't know. Like, I'd like to think he knows he's trolling people, and he probably does. But I think he also believes that there are a lot of people that think he's everyone's favorite president.
That's why I'm hard to tell. Because the actual tweet was, we are united in our effort to defeat the invisible China virus. And many people say that it is patriotic to wear a face mask when you can't socially distance. There is nobody more patriotic than me, your favorite president.
I'm tickled by it.
Like, in my mind, he has to sit there and be like, oh, this is going to be good. Let me end this with me, your favorite president. But then again, I can also see the other end where I'm like, he just talks like this.
I think it could be both.
And
I
of
think
course,
it's
it's a picture
both.
of him in black and white wearing a mask.
Trump knows people are melting down when he tweets that. And I get that. But the reason he's going to lose, and I don't want to go too deep into politics. This is not me rooting for anybody here. But just because there's an election coming up in a couple of months and I'm interested in the way it all plays out, the reason he's going to lose is because of that shit. It's funny when things are going well and you're screwing with people. Nothing's going well. Nothing is going well in this country at all right now. And you're sitting here talking about how you're everybody's favorite president. So yes, it's going to piss off the people who hate you. The negative for Trump is he's starting to piss off the people that might like him. Not all of them, not as the psychotic side one way or the other. There's a group of people on each side that are going to stand, if you will, for a politician no matter what. There's that middle ground of people who might vote for him that are just kind of like, this is stupid. And just think how bad of a loss that will end up being.
See this latest sexual misconduct lawsuit now?
Is it Fox News?
Yep. Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Ed Henry, and others.
I'm skeptical of these things, not because I defend Fox News, but there's reason to believe it because Roger Ailes had a pretty well-documented lust in the office. So that's different. But
the complaints of sexual misconduct range from inappropriate comments to rape. These are from two
someone
former...
raped. See, that's serious. When we're talking about people getting raped,
Yeah.
you get serious.
Yep.
Who do they think rapes? Who's getting accused of rape?
I'm trying to read that right now.
Curious.
I think Ed Henry. He was fired earlier this month
I don't even know who Ed
for
Henry
sexual
is.
misconduct ranging from inappropriate comments to rape.
I don't know who Ed Henry is. Should I know who Ed Henry is? I basically know the people who are on the actual, like, on these opinion shows, and I know who Roger Ailes was, and I know who Rupert Murdoch is.
So they're saying that this guy is Ed Henry. The victim claims that she was violently raped while helpless and restrained in metal handcuffs as Mr. Henry performed sadistic acts on her without her consent that left her injured, bruised, and battered with bloody wrists. See, that's a lot different than just like some jokes around the office.
It is, but I'm curious, how did she get in the handcuffs?
I don't know.
So
It was like blackmail to further her career, all this stuff like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the.
She was preyed upon, manipulated, and groomed starting at the young age of 24
24 is not really a young age.
by
to be
exerting
fair.
his abuse of power over her and her career.
I don't know. And who is Ed Henry? Is he does he run the network? Who is Ed Henry? I don't know who that is.
He got fired last month.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell he is. Not positive on that.
He was an anchor.
Oh, okay, I had no idea. You know who I don't like? Chris Wallace, only because I hate his voice. Like his delivery just annoys me. I just really don't like him.
That sounded like Todd Callis, your impersonation
They
of
both
him.
sound the same. There. Tucker is way too handsome to be accused of sexual harassment or assault. I would agree with that. He does. You know what's Tucker Carlson is actually, he's lost weight, especially in his face over the last year. He is certainly a handsome guy. I think he's handsome. I don't know if that makes me racist to say that, but I think he is handsome. Ed Henry isn't that powerful. He's just a correspondent. Okay, I don't know who the hell Ed Henry is, so I couldn't tell you anything about him. Then just last week, I was reading a story about the racism at Fox News and how uncomfortable it makes black people with like Tucker Carlson having these Black Lives Matter opinions and all that. Here's the thing. You kind of know what you're getting into when you work at Fox News. They don't hide what they are. They're conservative, right? That's their viewpoint. They're not lying about that. So there's no way you can be blindsided by the views you're hearing on Fox News when you go work there. There's no way. Some of the stuff they laid out was just obvious media stuff. Like, well, then they put on black people who will agree with their viewpoints that they prop up.
Like, well, no
that's how all
kidding.
media works.
Yeah.
Like, whenever you have an opinion, like I have an opinion on the radio, I'm going to go find a guest that agrees with me because it makes my points better. Like, that story was stupid. Like, I'm reading some of this and I'm like, well, black folks are angry that Fox News is this way. Like, well, again, you signed up to work at Fox News. You know who they are. You know what their reputation is, and you know what their viewpoints are. So don't just roll in and then just be offended all of a sudden because they don't like Black Lives Matter. Did you think they would? Like, in what world would you be like, Fox News seems like a place where they'll really appreciate Black Lives Matter. They are unabashed in their support of the Republican Party. They like CNN pretends that they're down the middle. We know what they are, but they pretend they're down the middle. Fox doesn't. Fox is like, we're conservative. We know we're conservative. This is what we do. Let's see here. That Margot skit you did with the white lady scared that worked for the Falcons front office was hilarious. I don't remember that bit. I'm sure I did something funny. I used to be brilliant. I vaguely remember that, but I'm trying to remember what she was. I'm trying to remember the whole story. But yeah, we've done some things before. We've done some funny-ish in our day, kiddos. Don't you forget that either. Let's see. Liberals are so offended all the time, so strange. Get over it. Here's the thing.
I think everybody's all offended
Everybody's
all the time.
offended all the time, right? Because there's where the money is, being offended, being outraged, right? Like Mark Cuban. Do you think that Mark Cuban is really some big Black Lives Matter guy? No. Mark Cuban is just a guy who has most of his employees, his most important employees, are black men. So he's not going to do anything to risk losing his ball club. Like if you were Mark Cuban, would you ever go on TV and go, I love black people, but this Black Lives Matter, they're a little out of control. No, you're done. They'd be asking you to get rid of your team. You'd be like that lesbian in Atlanta, or the lady that hated the lesbians in Atlanta, the anti-LGBTQ, anti-Black Lives Matter woman basketball owner who they tried to run out. Like, that'd be stupid of Mark Cuban to do that. So he's doing his job. It's his business. Same way that Ted Cruz hops in the middle of this. You know who I really don't like? Real talk. I don't like the conservative talk show host that went after Mark Cuban. Like, I know what you're doing. Basically, you saw last week, who was it? It was the dude in Missouri, Josh Hawley, who was able to go after the NBA and got the reaction from Woj.
Right.
Woj told him to fuck off, and Woj got suspended. So now it's kind of empowered some of the more hardcore conservative guys looking to draw some attention to themselves. So some guy on some throwaway radio station that I've never heard of before, right? So like just a total clown. He's on in Dallas on some station called The Answer. Guess what? If you work on a radio station called The Answer, you don't have the answer. That is my bold prediction. So he, smart on his part to pander to his people, he says that he'll go to the Mavericks games or whatever. He loves it as long as they don't kneel. So Mark Cuban comes out and basically has to put on the full-on Black Lives Matter movement and basically say, well, see you later. We don't need you. And then he goes off on the anthem. But what we're seeing here is a lot of these conservative guys are starting to do more of this because they can see that a lot of these liberal Black Lives Matter CNN types will go off on them. The Wojs will go off on them and they'll get what they want. I have no idea. What was the guy's name? Mark Davis?
I think so, yeah.
So the guy's name was Mark Davis. When I hear Mark Davis, the first thing I think is the guy that owns the Raiders. But apparently, the Mark Davis we're thinking of is a radio host in Dallas on something called 660 AM The Answer. He's on from 7 to 10 in the morning. I'd like to see what kind of audience 660 The Answer has. That doesn't even sound like who owns this? Who owns this station? I don't know who owns this station. But the guy knew exactly what he was doing.
See, Bob Costas is working for CNN now.
Well, that just makes sense.
What a combo.
Bob Costas is just extremely smarmy. If you see Bob Costas on something, you're going to get talked down to when you see Bob Costas. If you want peak Bob Costas smarmy, you need to watch the 30 for 30 about the XFL. Like, the idea of how fraudulent the XFL was in the eyes of Bob Costas, like, he's just like, basically, he is so far above the XFL in his own mind. It was a clown show, and he was so much better than that in his own mind. And I hate Bob Costas. He's one of those people I just despise.
I believe 660 AM The Answer may be owned by Salem.
Oh, so 660 The Answer. I'll look at the really quick. I'm going to look at the 6+ ratings in Dallas and see where 660 The Answer comes in. Dallas radio ratings. Let's look for 660 The Answer and see where they fall.
Stimulating talk.
660 what are their call letters? Let's see. 660 The Answer. Let's see here. I'm curious. 660 Dallas.
KSKY.
KSKY. Thank you, Jelly. KSKY. Let's see what their numbers are. KSKY. I don't know that KSKY is even a thing. I don't know that if they just don't subscribe to the ratings or if they just don't show up.
20,000 watt station.
Well, that's
in
a
the
big enough
daytime,
station,
yeah.
but oh, there it is. KSKY. They have a 0.4. A 0.4 in 6+. So obviously, that's not a guy that not a guy that has a big audience anyway. So that's a guy that's just trolling Mark Cuban.
He's probably gotten more attention from this radio station than they've ever gotten
Well,
before.
the same thing can be said for the guy at KFI in L.A.
Yep.
The guy who Roger Stone allegedly said the other N-word on the phone. And that guy, I mean, I had never heard of this dude. Now everybody's heard of the dude. Bob Costas is a self-important dweeb. That he is. And somebody earlier had said Bob Costas got bored with sports. He totally did. And, but I've never understood the appeal of Bob Costas. Awful at play-by-play. No pipes whatsoever. He's just boring. He's just uninteresting and boring to me. Never been a big Costas guy. Not a big fan. Random thought. Remember today when you and Rich did the NFL picks on a sponsored segment and you couldn't say the team nickname? You used to get so pissed. I would laugh out loud for me, Radio Gold. Was it about the Super Bowl or something? Oh, you're right. You know
It was
what?
an endorsement, so you couldn't say the team's names.
Yes, that was it. So if we did a pick, I had to do it without saying, I could say the city.
Yes, but not the team
Yeah.
name.
Okay, I remember that now. He was in literal tears because McGuire did roids. Here's the thing, though. Here's where Costas is a fraud. Go back and watch a movie called Race for the Record. Came out after the Sosa McGuire thing, and it was just this big glowing piece about McGuire and Sosa. And Costas is just blowing these guys, right? Then it wasn't too long after that, he was appalled by them because they were using these steroids. And I'm like, well, Bob, you and your media friend sure as hell didn't really probe anybody about any of these drugs McGuire was taking. Tropical storm is forming, tracking towards Houston. Bring it on, hurricane season. What do you think?
From what I've read, it's probably not even going to be a tropical storm. It's just a wave. Maybe a depression.
Guess we'll have to see.
Although, I mean, it rains here for 5 minutes and floods.
And
so.
did it today. There's too much flooding here. We need less flooding. I'm going to run for office on a platform of less flooding. You know, it rains for 10 minutes. It floods the whole damn day. You should apply for a job at The Answer and get out of sports radio. The thing is, I like sports radio. I don't mind it as long as they let me be entertaining. I don't mind it. 97.1 The Ticket has a new PD. You should reach out to him for a job. Let me ask you a question, Old Greatness, just out of curiosity. Are you aware of how well 97.1 The Ticket does in Detroit? They're a powerhouse. They dominate everybody. And they had a story a couple weeks ago about how if they're going to make any moves, they're going to look to be more diverse. That's why they just hired a black guy to work with their #1 rated afternoon show. So I don't think that 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, an extremely black city, that's looking to diversify, is going to call Josh Ennis and go, hey, by the way, Josh, you want to come to Detroit? We really like a lot of the stuff you've been doing, all this I like how you don't like the dudes who kneel for the anthem. We need more of that in Detroit. Yeah, not going to happen, Chief. But thank you, but it's not going to happen.
You hate this guy.
I do. I legitimately hate this person.
I don't know why. It's funny.
I just, because it annoys me, because this is clearly somebody who's got some sort of, it's either has insight to radio or is someone who's just kind of a nerd that just follows all the radio stories.
It's probably the same guy on Twitter that's Houston media critic or something.
No, because that person would just shit on me. Good news is, though, the Astros are up 5-0.
All right.
So, World Series champions. You guys better look out. I don't want to, count my chickens before they hatch.
We are the World Series champion.
So you better look out. I know I mocked all the Philly people for getting excited over their win over Max Scherzer, but if the Astros are up 5-0 already, I think they've got one thing on their mind.
We are the World Series champion.
That's what's going to happen. So you guys can get all excited. You can do whatever you want. You can get all excited about your little teams. The bottom line is that the Astros are going to be
We are the World Series champion.
So put your money on them now, kids.
You mean they don't need AJ Hinch to do it?
I could do it. Put me out there. I'll do it. You really know how I feel about managers in baseball. They are useless.
Well, that's why it'd be funny if they do win the whole thing this shortened season.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite was the losers that were so sad about AJ Hinch, and they were so convinced that Dusty Baker was too old. There's no such thing as being too old to manage baseball. You fill out a lineup card. That's all you do. And now that it's a DH everywhere, there's no pitchers batting, you literally do nothing. You're like Jimmy Dugan in a league of their own. You sit there, you scratch your balls for an hour, and you pass out until the game is over.
I also enjoyed the people who even just like a few weeks ago were like, man, we should have just rode this out. We're trying to have AJ Hinch back next year now.
Well, you know what? I know you couldn't have planned for that. They're not wrong.
No, because it would have counted.
Yeah,
even if there was no season at all, I think it still would have counted as his year's suspension.
I know, so that would have been it. Well, they really shouldn't have fired the damn GM. That was stupid. I still don't even know the name of the GM. Is it like
Click?
Something like that? Let's see here. Let's see. Gabe took all the heat for the Phils past couple of years when really our front office sucks. I would agree with that. So now everybody's convinced that a dude that managed the Yankees is somehow like, just because he managed the Yankees and happened to win one with the Yankees. The Yankees haven't won shit in the last 11 years. And somehow you want to tell me that Joe Girardi is the answer with the Phillies. Now, I get the argument. The argument is all a baseball manager needs to do is manage the clubhouse. Yes, that's when you have a talented roster. The Phillies are not exactly stacked. You can tell me all you want about the Phillies. Their lineup is not stacked. They're okay. But, they're not loaded. So we can talk about how Girardi, and that's really all the baseball manager needs to do, but he also has to have talent. You can manage the clubhouse all you want, but if you don't have the horses to run, it doesn't matter. What are your thoughts on last night's WWE pay-per-view? I have some thoughts. I had a long conversation with myself about whether or not I wanted to divorce Jilly after she made me watch that.
Well, what the hell else were you going to be doing?
Anything. I would have rather just have you punch me in the balls for 2.5 hours. That was horrible. And listen, I give them a bit of a break because it's the Rona and fans aren't there, and Extreme Rules is a lot more fun when fans are involved in it. But the angle with the eyeball.
Yeah, that was stupid.
It's stupid because there's no way to pay it off the right way. Like, his eyeball's not out. And now I've seen these videos that people have posted where there's actual pictures of him holding an eyeball.
Yeah.
That ain't a real eyeball.
It's very obviously just
breaking news. It ain't a real eyeball.
I told you my favorite thing to do now is because it'll show up sponsored posts on Facebook. Will show up from some whatever wrestling.net.org whatever.
Yep.
And you read these comments of people like, I used to love Rey Mysterio, and I respect him. I can't believe he would pick the stipulation. This is gross. Vince McMahon needs to fire him. Like, people.
It's wrestling, you dumb
It's
assholes.
not real.
And so the idea, like, there's no way for that match to end well, right? Like, you want to get a payoff. There's no way that match is going to have a good payoff when the idea is that somebody has to do the unrealistic thing of losing an eyeball.
I wanted, like, a really fake eyeball, like, on a kendo stick.
See, I would have rather that. If it would have been so outrageously
Yes.
fake, that would have been funny.
That's the best.
That would have actually been a funny time. But instead, what you end up with is you end up with morons that end up with a guy holding a fake eyeball outside of a mask, and then
And the vomiting.
Hey, I'll give credit to Seth. He was able to throw up on cue.
And the vomit, yeah.
So I don't know how he pulled that. Maybe he put something like maybe it was like lard ass and Stand By Me. He just hurried up, and while the camera was off of him, he took a swig of canola oil and just yacked. I don't know. That was just dreadful.
Drew and Dolph was the best part.
Because Dolph is one of the best in the game. He's an outstanding heel. He's great. He's awesome.
And you know he's not going to win, but he makes it damn entertaining.
No, he's great. The final thing was a total waste of time. They're trying to recreate the magic of the Undertaker match. They haven't done it. That Funhouse shit they did the first time wasn't good, and this one was terrible as well. It was awful. And I get it. I give them credit for trying different stuff, so it's harder to be judgmental when you know they're trying stuff based on the situation. But man, like there was some lame shit going down in that match. And that was stupid. Really, there's nothing. And then there's that horrible finish to the Asuka match that just basically renders the whole match worthless.
Well, they're trying desperately to get people to watch tonight to see who the actual champion is.
Yeah, well, whatever. Ziggler is underrated. Dude, he's underutilized. I agree. I think Ziggler's fantastic. Again, he's good as a heel. I mean, he's not going to be a champion or anything like that, but he's a fantastic heel, and he plays the role well. I guess they can't just have him fight everybody, but they should.
Yep.
He should just always fight the champion because he's awesome. Let's see here. Yes, we can say goodbye to the podcast audience and talk with our friends here on the Twitch for a little bit. So, Podcast Jilly, say goodbye.
You always say that so awkward.
Say goodbye, Jilly.
No.
That's the end of that.
He's like, oh, bye. Like,
Bye,
it sounds
friends.
weird.
Well, okay, that's the point. So,
Lucy, okay.
what's up, Lucy boy?
You filled his water. It's actually empty.
Because he drank it all when he came up. I'll fill it up when we get up. So, as things come to, how did Jilly go viral? Well, Jilly went viral because her tweet or her Facebook post has like 37,000 shares randomly and the most random thing ever.
About Taco Bell.
Yep, about Taco Bell of all things. All right, while we talk about that, though, you guys know what time it is, and I appreciate all the bits you've been throwing out there like H-Town Rich B. But here is your opportunity to fill our coffers, line our pockets, make our lives a little easier for the effort we're putting in for you. It's time for a Bits Blitz, everybody.
They won't even let you talk about homos on Facebook!
I found it on Facebook, and it was blowing up. Constantly said someone was typing. Yeah, it's nonstop.
Very strange. Also funny is our friend Lisa in Chicago was telling me that I guess like one of their weekend anchors was kind of like furious at one of the producers for including the Taco Bell story in their newscast.
Well, now you know
why. And so
why.
she showed them my post.
Like there.
And they were like, oh.
Jilly's pretty soon going to be an editor for the news.
Could be.
Thank you, Krilla Gorilla, for the bits. Thank you, KJ Tex. Thank you, Bry Guy 868 and H-Town Rich B and Miller Time 3323. My man Clyde said he's getting good experience, but he'd be making more unemployed. Well, that's the definition of working on the radio, my friend. Thank you, MW Soulgrove and Eagles Monkey and Krilla Gorilla. This is what it's all about, throwing those bits in. If you have a drop request, we'll play those for you too here as we're wrapping things up.
Now listen.
We'll do whatever you need, guys. We appreciate the bits. Have you guys been checking out the show, the ESPN show? It's on our channel. I don't know if you guys get notified of that. But the last couple of days, we've been sharing or hosting the radio show on our channel because we're trying to become part of this Twitch sports stream or some shit that can help blow the show up and get us more listeners. So we're going to hopefully get selected for that, but we have been on there. But make sure you check that out. Let's see. Thank you, Clyde. Good work. We'll appreciate you. Thank you, Spank It, Slap It, and Chess Cat, and KJ Tex for the bits. People just throwing them in there.
Holy smokes, John.
That's what I have to say when I see all these bits coming in.
Holy smokes, John.
Holy smokes, John. But when you're one of these people that doesn't throw in any bits,
Then you're not funny.
you are not funny. So, you got to make it happen.
Southern boys.
They're up 5-0. They're about to win the World Series championship.
We are the World Series champion.
Let's see here. Read some of these comments from people. I'm watching Raising Arizona, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why you and Jim like it so much. Maybe I need to watch it again. I paid $3.99 for it. Well, I guess there are just people who get Raising Arizona and those who don't. You are in a different category than Jim and I. Jim and I have what you might call a more mature comedic sensibility than you have, I guess. So...
He's inside me, and he wants to take me again.
That's just fun times now.
Steve's not here, man.
Thank you, Krilla Gorilla, because my man really likes the World Series champion.
We are the World Series champion.
Not a fanboy rented that movie because he said that I said it's one of my favorites. It is. It's a brilliant movie. It's hysterical.
To be fair, in all the years we've dated, I don't think I've ever seen the whole thing because you usually turn it off after 30 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the first 30, 40 minutes of it is pretty spectacular. Then I don't really care for the back half of it. But the first 40 minutes of it, very strong. Hysterical, really.
I'm just saying.
OJ's even in on it. The radio show is great, Josh. Love Nick, too. Well, thanks. Appreciate that. So make sure whenever we go live on there on Twitch during the day, you watch it. We're supposed to be able to talk with people during the break via the microphone instead of just typing. We can actually talk over the Twitch channel with you guys as well. So appreciate that. If you would do that, we'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you, the real toaster head, for some good action there.
We were messing with the Zoom.
Last run here, guys. Last run for bits. Home stretch. Home stretch. Get ready. I think you guys know what is coming next. I think you guys know where the real party is, and thank you, Bry Guy. But I think you guys know what's about to happen to get that final bit stretch, don't you?
You don't hear them talking about COVID. COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Testing is a double-edged sword. They test and they test. People don't know what's going on. We got this, they got this. You do testing, you're gonna find more cases. So I said to my people,
Slow the testing down.
You know what? We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old.
Got the sniffles.
Got the sniffles.
That's a case. That's a case.
Thank you, China. Send us the play. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Despite the fact that we are very phenomenal.
Thank you, Krilla Gorilla, for the 1,000 bits, and H-Town Rich B, thank you.
There was only one person that died. I ran for politics once, but I became president. You are so lucky I'm president.
Favorite president.
Yep, I am your favorite president.
I stand before you today to declare Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. If I lose an election over that,
This country's in big
you know
trouble.
what? This country's in big trouble. Big trouble.
So I'm also considering, once we get into probably late August, maybe even into September, of having like a different guest that's set every day, right?
You almost broke my computer.
No, I didn't. I didn't come close to breaking your computer. But like, say, like on Mondays, maybe we have Tank for 15 minutes
Yeah.
or 20 minutes. Then Jim Mudd is on one day, and then maybe I'll see if Bruno will do something once. So like every day during, I say the season, who knows what kind of season we're going to have, but
That's a
have,
good idea.
a different guest every day that's just set that people know is going to be there.
Like a
every day.
real radio show.
Like a real radio show. Rich Lord, there's another one potentially. You working with Joe Kraus at all to help the pod? Not about the podcast, but I mean, I've talked to him about doing a radio show. But I haven't heard from Joe in a while, so who knows? This is Twitch or 97.5. This on that would be on Twitch, but the 97.5 show is also on Twitch. But I wouldn't do it on the radio show part of it. I would do it here. I'm not a big guest person. That's why I just like to talk with people I like. And since the show on 97.5 is 2 hours, it flies by on there, so I don't really need guests on there. So what all did we talk about? We talked about Jillian Taco Bell. Oh, and then my gambling. Josh is excited because the return of sports means the return of sports betting. Josh is convinced he's going to get out of the hole. Jilly thinks Josh is an ass clown. Is a degenerate ass clown. All right, what did we talk about after that?
How you weren't talking about politics anymore, but then we talked about politics.
Oh, well, kind of we did, yes. And then baseball. We talked a little bit about baseball.
McDougal tried to rile up the Texans fans.
Yeah. What else did we talk about? Fred filled in on 97.5 the other week. I'm sure they let you bring him on for an hour. I don't really, I would have Fred. I don't really know that I care to bring people in on the 97.5 show. I don't want to waste all my good material on 97.5.
People
LOL.
wanted Fred on the podcast. You should ask him to come on Saturday.
Maybe I will. Is Twitch the preferred app for the afternoon show? I mean, if you'd like to, it would help if you watched it on there. If you watch it on our channel, not on the 97.5 channel, but when I share it, watch it on there. That would help us out too. It'd help bring up our numbers a little bit. Let's see. So we talked about the return of baseball. Yeah, I mean, among other things. There we go. That's enough, I think. All right. One day I'll do a better job of, putting the description in these, but I always forget what we discussed. One day this thing will become so big, we'll just hire John Cassio to do all this. And then John Cassio will handle all of this. I listen on TuneIn or Twitch. Should I use something else? No. Are you talking about for the 97.5 show? Just listen wherever you want. It's fine, but I'm not picky about where you do it. There we go. That should be done there. There you go. All right. That's done there. So anyway, probably time to say goodbye to Josh and all his kids.